and welcome to episode 2 of For the Good podcast with Hannah Springle. Today we are joined by my daughter. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and give them an idea of what to expect today?
Hi, I'm Jaden. We're basically, I forgot to say how old I am. Hi, I'm Jaden. I'm 14 years old.
Okay, take 3.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of For the Good podcast with Hannah Springle. Today we're going to be having my daughter Jaden join us. Jaden, do you want to go ahead and cue them in on what to expect for today?
Hi, I'm Jaden. Today we're going to be piggybacking off of a vlog that I did when I was 13. It was basically a trend where I asked my mom questions that other girls or people are too afraid to ask theirs.
I feel like there was a lot of really good stuff in there, and I also feel like we reaped the benefit of having this conversation because it is a bunch of questions that are really hard to discuss in like a parent-child dynamic. And her coming to me the way she did, instead of waiting until a situation arises in real time where we're having to deal with it and we both don't know what to expect from the other in terms of how they're going to react or respond. It allowed us to approach these topics on a more level playing field and just share our perspective on things. And there's some really good takeaways in there. And I also want to talk about, after you guys watch the clip, how things have changed and evolved for us. I'm very transparent with my kids in leading with, I'm going to give you guys grace and I need you to give me grace in return. I let them know that, you know, at whatever age you are, I've never parented a child this age, or I've never parented you at this age. You're this age for the first time, just like I'm parenting you at this age for the first time. And I feel like if more parents could just humble themselves and view parenting as a learning experience and a chance to evolve, we would all be way better off collectively. It reminds me of this quote, I don't know who said it, but it says, sometimes God uses us to shape our children, and other times he uses our children to shape us. That's so true. My children, they challenge me every single day, and it's hard, yes, of course, but I'm better for it. And I feel like the same could potentially be said about, you know, from a child's perspective as well. A lot of things that you're going to see in this video, though, are a prime example of do as I say, not as I do. I highly recommend going back to episode 1 and getting familiar with my testimony so that you have a better understanding of how I approach these questions and why. I do want to insert a trigger warning. We will be talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Just kidding. Anything else in there? Teen pregnancy. I would definitely put like a PG-13 content rating on this. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Enjoy the video.
What advice would you give to somebody going through a heartbreak?
That's tough. I think that I would remind them that every experience and every trial that we go through is meant to prepare us for something bigger. And a lot of relationships that we have, for the most part, are going to be stepping stones. It's not the end all be all. You've got to feel it to heal it. And yeah, take what you can from the experience and apply it to your next relationship. That's about it.
That's some very good advice.
Thanks.
What do you think is a good age to start wearing crop tops?
Not 13. Okay, so with crop tops, I wear crop tops. I feel like they're, which my belly button's usually not showing when I'm wearing a crop top. Like, I kind of do like this situation. This is a crop top, but you can't really tell, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a very classy, elegant, modest way to incorporate crop tops into your wardrobe. But I don't feel like you should be doing that until Nico, you want to get in the vlog?
Yeah, he does.
Oh my gosh, he does. I don't feel like that should be a thought in a person's mind until they're out of high school. I don't think that, so like 18-ish, I don't think that high schoolers or middle schoolers should be walking around with their belly showing in any capacity. Just my opinion.
Okay. I think it would like depend on how short it is, like the length of it.
In my opinion, no skin on your belly should be showing unless you're at the pool until you're out of high school.
Okay.
Hey, buddy.
What's a good age to go out with your boyfriend/girlfriend?
15, 16. I think 15, 16 is a good age. You know, you're in high school. I think that's a good age to start dating and kind of testing the waters and preparing yourself for like those types of relationships and all that comes with them.
Okay. This question kind of like goes with the top question. What do you think is a good age to start dating? You said 15, 16?
Yeah.
Okay. Why are a lot of moms more strict on their daughters than they are their sons?
I feel like when kids are small, sons tend to demand the most discipline. They're wild, they're crazy, they test their physical boundaries more so than little girls. Little girls tend to be more reserved, but I feel like as kids start to get older, the tables turn. And I feel like just it's in a female's nature to just want to grow up so fast. They're in such a hurry to grow up. They don't want to just be a kid. And I feel like just the nature of that demands a parent to step up more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we feel strict, if you can relate to that question, like, don't fault your mom for it. Don't fault your dad for it. We are parenting you out of love. We love you. I also feel like girls are subject to a lot more serious of consequences at that delicate stage in their life if they're lacking the proper guidance. Because I mean, boys, for example, boys can't get pregnant, right? Boys can get somebody pregnant and then they can walk away, and then the woman, the girl, is left to deal with the burden. I don't want to say burden because it's not very nice, but they're left to deal with the consequences of that action. Mm-hmm. And as a parent, that's scary because again, there is an order in which we encourage, you know, the sequence of life events to play out, and that really puts that in jeopardy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Advice for losing your V card.
Oh gosh. I don't even want to think about my babies doing this. I beg of you, if you're watching this and you're a little girl, don't make the same mistake a lot of us did, because you should wait to make that decision for as long as possible. Ideally, when you're married, your brain is fully developed and you can trust your own decision making. Because again, the potential consequences of that, and not just pregnancy, there's STDs, there are so many other, there's like the spiritual aspect of, you know, what intercourse, the way that can affect you, having intercourse. And there's just so many reasons to just wait. There are other ways you can connect and be intimate without doing that straight out the gate. Advice to losing it, I would just say, that's a hard one. What age are we talking? Like, am I talking to like 13-year-old you, or am I talking to 20-year-old you? I need some more context here, because that's a bit of a wild card.
Like high school?
High school. Have you already done it? Like, in retrospect, has it already happened? Am I coaching you through the aftermath? Or am I preparing you for it? Preparing you for it. Okay. I would say trust. Well, no, you can't really. I would say wait as long as possible. Ideally until you're married. But if you love the person, you love them, and like, I don't have control over what you're gonna do. I don't have control over what anyone does. All I can control is what I do. And in that situation, I would just hope that you know what you're doing and that you're prepared to reap the potential consequences of doing something like that, whether it be, you know, getting an STD, getting pregnant, or even just getting your heart broken, because the person that you lose your virginity to creates a soul tie that it's gonna be a part of you for the rest of your life. Like, it's a really serious thing when you do that for the first time. So I can just hope that you're prepared and that you're strong enough to handle the outcome of that decision, whatever it may be.
And just so y'all know, she's speaking to me too, because I'm 13. Like,
yeah, it's a really, really big decision. I'm not gonna tell you guys the age that I lost mine at, because just know that I'm speaking from a place of experience, okay? If anyone has a right to speak on like these types of topics, it's me.
Okay. How did you tell your mom that you were pregnant with me?
Oh my gosh. So again, I got pregnant with Jaden when I was 15 years old. I was in high school. I think I was about to go into my junior year, sophomore year, one of the two. And I have a really bad memory, but I remember I was a cheerleader. It was about summertime, so school was about to end. New school year was going to be starting in a couple months when I found out. And I was like 3 or so months pregnant when I finally took a pregnancy test, and I think I was in full denial. Like, I was pregnant with her, but I just kept living my life. I was still cheerleading, I was still going to school, and then out of nowhere I started to show. And that's when I came home from school one day, and my aunt, actually, I don't remember where my mom was, but my aunt had a pregnancy test on the back of the toilet and told me to go take it. So I did. And I was very pregnant. I don't remember how I told my mom, but I do remember that everybody in my family was excited. And I was too. I was excited, but again, I was also in denial. It didn't become a reality to me until literally after I had her. Like, I just was pregnant. I kind of just floated through the pregnancy, and then the next thing I knew, I had a baby, and everything changed. Started getting my ducks in a row. I grew up really, really quickly because I was determined to give my kids a better upbringing and a better childhood than what I had, and I did everything in my power. Granted, a 16-year-old doesn't have a whole lot of power. Like, I wasn't even a legal adult, couldn't do anything, couldn't breathe without my mom's consent, right? But I did everything in my power to try to make that happen.
Wow. Okay. What's your opinion on teen parties?
Absolutely not. Nothing happens at teen parties. I've been to enough of them to know. Absolutely not.
Okay. How do you feel?
Now, when you're 18, and I have no say, so that's a different story.
Okay. How do you feel about body count?
Body count. Again, every sexual interaction that you have, whether it be with a male or female, it creates a soul tie. And those soul ties, as you continue to go through life, affect you in ways that are really difficult to fathom. And I think the best means of preventing that is is not to engage in something if you don't fully understand the consequences of what that action could present. And again, I'm speaking from experience. Body count, keep it as low as possible, because you don't know these people. You don't know a person's soul. You don't know who they're gonna become. You don't know what they've done. You don't know what they're gonna do. And yeah, keep it as low as possible. Like, in a perfect world, my body count would be 1. I would have only slept with the man that I got pregnant by and married, but unfortunately that wasn't the path that I took. So I strongly encourage anybody watching this to do it differently.
What's a good age to get belly/nose piercing?
We're not going to talk about when I got my belly button pierced because, Mom, I was way too young. But I think belly or nose, okay, that's facial piercings. I feel like personally, and this may sound strict or harsh, but I think out of high school. Like, I know high school, like, that's probably difficult for kids to hear, because by high school you feel like you're at the end of the line. Like, you're almost done with school, you're gonna go out into the real world, college, but like, you're still a kid and you're still in high school, which is still the environment that is full of children, of kids, right? And I don't think kids should be walking around with piercings in their faces. So I feel like 17, 18, like graduation present, let's go get you a body piercing. But up until that point.
Okay. What was it like having 4 kids?
What was it like, or what is it like?
You can say both.
Both. Oh gosh. Chaotic. Again, my journey wasn't that of what I would wish for my daughter, or for anyone really. I feel like it was really hard for me, the way that things unfolded. Again, consequences of actions. You have sex, you risk getting pregnant. That's where birth control comes into play. It was really hard. And by the time I was having children, I wasn't even an adult yet. I was still a child myself. And so every decision that I made didn't only affect me, it also affected my kids. And that's unfortunate when you're a kid and you still have a lot of growing up to do, right? Now that I'm an adult and parenting all 4 of my children, it's chaotic. It's overwhelming sometimes. Even with, having her, she's old enough to be really hands-on with her siblings and help me out a lot, and having my husband, God bless his heart, even with all the help and support that I have, it's still really difficult having multiple children. But I would not change a thing. So do with that what you will.
Do you ever wish I was more like my siblings?
More like your siblings? No. Maybe like Leighton. Leighton is like, he's like me. He feels so deeply. He has such a big heart. He's so just soft and gentle and just empathetic. And I think empathy is a really, really good trait to have. And he demonstrates empathy on a level way ahead of his time. So in that sense, yes, I do wish you were a little softer. But I love you just how you are. But I do think Leighton's a little ahead of the curve in that regard. Be more like Leighton, your 9-year-old brother. Was that a trick question? Did I pass the test?
Sure.
He's calm. Remember when we were at the circus and he saw that little girl like getting mistreated by her mom, and like he felt it. and he
Yeah.
started tearing up. Like, that's how deeply I feel. And I think, again, I think that's a beautiful thing. It sucks when you're the person going through it. Like, you feel everybody's emotions so deeply, but it's also a beautiful thing. Anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Was I an accident?
Yes. I was 15. I was a kid making a decision that I did not understand the potential consequences of. And absolutely, you were not planned.
I already knew the answer.
And that's
but they didn't.
okay. That's okay. Surprises are great sometimes. Look at us now.
Okay. How do you feel about hickeys?
Ew. Ugh. Gross. I think hickeys are so trashy. I get why they're a thing. Like, when you're intimate, it can feel good, but you can also be intimate without, like, leaving marks. I feel like sometimes it's a little excessive, and it's like a childish way of, like, marking your territory, you know? If that makes sense. So you can kiss up on somebody's neck and suck up on somebody's neck without leaving a giant blood, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, exactly. I think it's
Yeah,
trashy.
I think it's gross too.
Like, do your thing, but no, not everybody needs to know about it, you know?
This is the last question. What are your thoughts on, like, smoking?
Smoking what?
Anything?
Cigarettes can kill you. Like, they cause cancer. They're a carcinogen, so I think you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I'm very big about avoiding toxins. Smoking marijuana, CBD, that's hard to say. I feel like it depends on the person and the case, because I worked at a CBD store for a little over 2 years, and we also sold THC, so I became very well versed on those two cannabinoids, and I've seen the positive impact that they can have on people's lives, but I've also seen the negative impact that specifically THC. Okay, I've never seen CBD negatively impact anybody's life, but THC, it definitely can. It depends on the person, because in the wrong hands, THC or any psychoactive cannabinoid or any substance really can be a bad thing. But there are a lot of benefits, again, to smoking THC specifically if it's the right person who's doing it.
Okay. That's all the questions. I hope y'all liked the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.
Bye. All right, so let's go ahead and circle back to, there's a couple of questions I really wanted to delve a little further into. Can we start with number 2? Will you just read the question for me?
What do you think is a good age to start wearing crop tops?
Okay, so I definitely stand by my answer in how I responded to that question. However, I've learned that parenting, it's not always enough, depending on the kid and the situation, just to say no, or even just to say no and this is why. I feel like where I missed the mark on answering that question is, why do you feel a need to want to show skin? This, I feel like, is her speaking for other teenage girls too, because I don't know if you've seen the way middle schoolers and high schoolers are dressing today, but they are all trying to show all kinds of belly, and I'm just like, why is that? I feel like we need to really just dig deep and kind of bring that into examination for a minute. Why do you want to show skin? Like, why is the desire there? Why is it's like a pressure? Like, where is it coming from?
I think it's just trendy.
It's trendy.
And people started doing it and thought that it was just a cute style, and it just was a trend.
Yeah. So, like, kind of to fit in because other people are doing it, and it's just like the style. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's not just you. Like, we've got neighbors who do it. We've got friends who do it, whose parents are always getting on to them. Like, I've got to the point where I don't buy her crop tops anymore because I'm like, there's no reason for you to be showing skin in any capacity like that. And I've noticed that with a lot of them, if they don't have access to those types of shirts, they'll just tie them up. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And it seems like maybe it's just the pressure to fit in, and it's because it's what everyone else is doing. And I've been a teenager once too, and it's scary to be different. It's scary to stand out. You want to be just like everybody else, but look as good as possible while you're doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's a good age to get a belly/nose piercing?
So I don't know if you can tell or not, but I was very adamant on 18 or up. But she now has a nose piercing. I felt like she was persistent enough about her desire to get it. And she's homeschooled now, and she has been for, like a year and a half. And she's been doing really, really good in that environment and really good in her social environment. And I feel like once I got the opportunity to kind of pull her away from that influence, it gave her the opportunity for self-discovery. And she's learning who she is and becoming more secure in that identity. And I was able to look at that objectively and with the belief that it's something that she wants for herself, not because she saw someone else with it or because it's what everyone else is doing. So I did allow her to get a nose piercing.
What was it like having 4 kids?
So we talked about this a little bit in the vlog, but I wanted to talk about it a little more because if you're familiar with my story, the kids have only all been home with me in my care for, it'll be 3 years this summer. And I feel like there's been a lot of new, there's been a lot of different challenges that we've had to navigate. We're now homeschooling all of them, and so that's also a lot of, it's difficult, it's tough. But do you feel like it's getting easier or harder?
Easier.
Like as time progresses, you feel like, yeah, I do feel like
sure,
it's getting easier.
easier.
I really attribute a lot of that to therapy. I feel like we're all in therapy, from my husband right down to everyone except for our youngest daughter. I feel like therapy has allowed us to become more aware of our actions and how we process information and how we express emotion collectively. And it's made things a lot more manageable within our home. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. No matter who you are, where you are in life, whether you've experienced something catastrophic or not, therapy should be utilized as a preventative measure, if nothing else, because life is hard and it can be traumatic, and you never know when it's going to be the wrong set of circumstances at the right time for you. I feel like I need to add more to that.
Yeah.
In my previous video, I mentioned that my spout with addiction was a result of the wrong set of circumstances at the right time. I had just suffered a huge loss. I had all of that unresolved childhood trauma that I just put in the back of my brain, and it just took the wrong circumstances at the right time for me, and that was it. And I firmly believe that had I been in therapy or been more proactive in trying to gather an awareness of who I am, my emotions, and how I operate, I think that it could have potentially been prevented. So therapy, therapy, therapy. If you take nothing else from this video, go enroll yourself in therapy. Is that the right term? Go enroll yourself in therapy. Go get in therapy. Get your kids in therapy. Everyone needs a therapist, okay?
Yeah. It really does help a lot.
Yeah. I want to talk about that a little more because you went from, I'm not going, and if you make me go, I'm just not going to talk to them. And do you remember what I told you?
Oh my gosh.
What did I tell you? I told her, I was like, well, you're going to go and I'm going to keep taking you. You'll get out of it whatever you put into it. Remember? Like, you can talk or not talk, but you're still going to go.
Yeah.
And that was me doing my part and then kind of trusting the Holy Spirit to do the rest. And I think, you want to talk about how it's been for you?
It's been really good. I've seen 3 different therapists now.
Yeah.
But they really do help. They're very efficient.
Yeah, but I think finding someone that is right for you is essential.
Very important.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to be a fruitful experience.
It has to be someone that you like connect with, and give them like a couple tries. And if you just can't connect with the person, then go find somebody else.
Right. And I tried to be very supportive in that.
Yeah,
I do
for sure.
understand that that's important. You know, you have to feel comfortable talking to that person about things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, was there anything else? Questions were pretty explicit. I want everyone's primary takeaway to be that obviously this level of awareness is very much prevalent amongst our youth outside of our homes, and if they're not having those conversations with you, then they're going to be having them with other people, and you're going to want to be their initial and primary source of influence in those topics. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I also want to thank Jaden for hopping on here with me. I know there are other ways she would have preferred to spend her Thursday afternoon, but I think it was really fruitful and really insightful and really fun to just kind of reflect on almost this time last year. That video was recorded in May of last year, and just see how much our perspectives have changed. I will see you guys in my next video.